How you guys doing? So this is gonna be the first video for the channel. Went ahead and started my own YouTube channel. It's gonna be focused on the new 11th gen Civic Si build, and also my headlight business and all the custom lighting that I offer and do, as well as steering wheels for the customers. So some of y'all might know me. I used to have a red bagged 8th gen Civic Si 4-door, tucked and shaved engine bay. Well, I ended up selling it and I got the new 11th gen Civic Si. So far, can't complain. I love this thing to death and it's pretty fun. So today we're gonna install a wireless charger kit. So I'll provide all the info in a few moments here, and let's get this going. So before you go ahead and install this wireless charging kit, I always like to disconnect my battery when it comes to electrical things or wiring and stuff. You never know, something could fry. You could do something wrong by accident. We're all human, we make mistakes. And you don't want something on your car frying or your ECU frying, voiding your warranty, etc. So grab yourself a 10mm wrench or socket, disconnect the negative pole, call it a day. So now that the negative pole / terminal is disconnected, I went ahead and just put it right here for now. That's pretty much it. Set your tools down and let's get to starting the install. This is how the interior looks of the new 11th gen Civic Si. A lot of red accents everywhere, including on the honeycomb dash. Really nice piano black trims. Very nice and sporty. I gotta say, my favorite part of the interior has to be the red accents and the Apple CarPlay radio. I've always been a fan of Apple CarPlay, and I even had Apple CarPlay in my 8th gen Civic Si. And I do gotta say, it's wonderful. It comes with a Bose audio system, as you can see. Bose. But it's pretty cool. We're going to be installing the wireless charging kit provided by a good buddy of mine. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Mick Store. I'll provide his info in the description below, as well as the link for this. He went ahead and sent me this OEM charging kit to install into my Civic Si, because the only model in the US that brings the wireless charging is the Touring model. The Sport and the Si do not bring wireless charging. Right here in this little cubby, it's just a little storage cubby where I usually place my phone or my keys, since you know, it's wireless key fob now. You don't have to put key in anymore. Anyways, this is an all OEM kit. I don't know if you guys can see right here, Honda branding, and then the part number right here as well. But the whole thing's OEM. Of course, it's in Japanese. So we're gonna go ahead and install this today. I'm gonna be removing the center trim here, as well as removing the shift boot from the trim, disconnecting the buttons from the trim, and I'm also going to be taking up these side panels so we can get up behind this where the cable is located. So the first thing I did was take off this main center shift trim or shift bezel, whatever you want to call it. I didn't feel like having to remove the whole shift knob and shift boot itself, so what I did was pop this off from the sides. It all has clips throughout the whole side. You can just tug at it and it pops right off. And then the shift boot is attached to the middle area right here with just 4 bolts. I went ahead and used a Phillips to remove those. It's also connected with these 2 plugs right here, which I also disconnected, one here and one here. And then the shift bezel comes completely off. So as you can see, I went ahead and already removed this panel, this big bezel. I know it may look big or really hard to take off, but it's really just a couple different screws. I mean, not screws, clips, and that's pretty much it. As you can see, each side has about 5-6 clips, and you just start, same thing you did for the sifter trim. You just pop these out a little bit, tug them, and they come right out. And then you go ahead towards the back. You don't want to bend the trim too much, but you just kind of have enough access to like go like this, and you can disconnect all the plugs. I don't know if the Tourings or the Sports have different amount of plugs. This is how many plugs my SI had. So I went ahead and disconnected them all, and that's it. So let's keep going to the next part. What I'm gonna want to do next, which I've already had the process of doing it already, so I went ahead and kind of did it. Grab yourself a small flathead or a plastic, trim wedge tool. If you have a flathead, use a cloth or a microfiber. You're going to want to go in the corner of this trim right here, the honeycomb dash, and slowly pry it. Make sure if you're using a flathead to use a microfiber so you don't damage the leather. If you're using a plastic wedge, you should be completely fine. So then you go ahead and you start prying it like such. And as you can see, the whole trim starts coming out. It's all just clips throughout the whole thing. So let me get this going and I'll see you guys in a few seconds. Okay, I have went ahead and disassembled the honeycomb dash. Like I said a couple seconds ago, it's literally just all clips. That's all it is. Once you get to remove it all, I don't know if the Sport or the Touring have more plugs, but the SI has a plug for the AC unit and controls. This plug is for the hazard button, and then this plug is for the engine stop button. That's it. Unplug those and you got it all removed. So far at this point, you should have the main center shift trim bezel removed, that big bezel with the storage cubby removed, and now your honeycomb dash removed. So now that we're here at this stage, this little metal trim right here has two screws, one right here and one right here. Go ahead and remove them with your Phillips, and then you'll be able to pop the trim off completely and move it to the side like this. Because now this is where the fun comes in. We have to go ahead and connect an OEM style provided harness into the back of this module that will allow us to plug it into the wireless charging kit, and it will work perfectly fine and turn off and on with the car, etc. So let's get this going. I will show you guys the next few details. We're here at the headlight shop. We're gonna want to kind of retrofit or customize this one in a sense to be able to fit the OEM panels and stuff. So I'll go ahead and show you what we have. And took off the bezel from the actual charging piece. It's just 4 clips. Here's the OEM Japanese or from overseas bezel. This is the USDM OEM one. I went ahead and took these trims off as well. They're just clips. So here I can show you guys the difference. As you can see, the OEM one from US has these little tabs for clips. The OEM one from overseas does not. But nonetheless, it still clips in perfectly fine. As you can also tell, the OEM one, the slots for the tabs are a bit longer and wider. As for the overseas one, they are more narrow, so we'll have to widen these with my trusty old Dremel here. We're gonna widen them, and then as you can see over here, the OEM one from US has tabs right here, or holes for the tabs right here and right here. The overseas one only has it right here, but not over here. So we'll have to go ahead and make the holes for those tabs right here, and then widen these 3 as well. Other than that, it will bolt up right perfectly. So I'm going to Dremel these up and I will show you guys how it turns out. Once you finish widening those holes and making those 2 extra holes like I told you, you end up with this. It's already done, put together. All screws attached. The only places that don't mount are right here and here and in here, as because the overseas one has different mounting locations, but it still mounts up pretty dang good. And yeah, let's go install this in the car. Maybe later on I might get another of this metal trim to redo it again to do it perfectly. There are some areas that I don't like right here maybe. I don't know if you can see a tiny little gap, but for now it'll look good. Let's get this installed in the car so I can show you guys how it looks. Now we're back in the car. So to get to the plug where we need to connect the plug and play harness, you're gonna want to remove this head unit. I'm pretty sure you could finesse your way and finagle through the wires to get to the plug, but to kill time and just do it the right way, let's drop this head unit. You're gonna want to unloosen this bolt right here, nut right here. Also this nut in here, and then the third one is right here. So 1, 2, and 3, and it'll drop the head unit. So let's get it going. I'm going to use a ratchet, an extension, and a 10mm socket. So let's get this going. That we unloosened the nuts, we're gonna go ahead and take this module out. So just wiggle forward and sideways, just get it out, finesse it out, and it'll pop right off. I can already feel the crap ton of bundles behind it. Just gotta keep playing. There's one side, and there's the other side. So the module is out completely now. So now we can play around with it, and I'll show you what wire to get to. All right. So once you get the module out, it wiggles out. Behind this plug right here is another plug, a gray plug that gets connected with the plug and play harness. And if you can see it right there, my plug and play, that's the plug that you're going to want to disconnect. And it comes with an extension / splitter harness, and the other end of the plug and play harness connects back into the vehicle. And then this one comes with this long extension to be able to connect to the wireless charging pad. So now everything is plugged back up the module wise. So I'm gonna quickly reassemble everything, and before I tighten everything down, I'm gonna plug everything in and just put the battery back on and make sure that extension wire under this gray bar looking thing. And then I went ahead and just used zip ties and tied it along the factory wiring with zip ties. I used about 4 or 5 of them. So now it's sort of at the same range as the wires that connect behind it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and install it, put everything back together, put the battery terminal back on, and let's see if everything works. All right, so if you guys can tell, car's back on the road, making sure everything works. And as you can see, if the glare decides to leave, there's a green light on the wireless charging. So that means that the wireless charger is on. So now that we're approaching the stop sign, I'm gonna go ahead and place my phone on it. Since I have an iPhone 13 Pro, it should start wireless charging. So here we go, let's see. There we go, it started charging. And if you look closely, once you have something charging, the yellow light turns on. So yeah, your phone's charging. You can if you have wireless CarPlay, you can use wireless CarPlay while your phone's charging. I'm still a big fan of the wired connection method. I like plugging in my iPhone to the USB port right there and using Apple CarPlay that way. I've always been used to that. Wireless CarPlay on today's newer generation cars kind of suck, and it's laggy, and with the USB port it's perfect. But that's a nice little OEM aesthetic thing. It's nothing much needed, but for those of you that like little OEM parts, it's a little perfect little design. And well, what can I say? I like it, and it's pretty fun. So now that I'm parking, I'm gonna go ahead and put the e-brake up, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn the car off, and it should turn off. There you go. As you noticed, the light is off. The phone is no longer charging. And that's it. So to sum things up, I went ahead and already installed the Mixstore wireless charging OEM kit. I am going to go ahead and hit them up so I can order another one of these side trims, because I do want to redo it, as it looks good, but knowing me, I know what I did wrong and what I could have done better on the next one. I do recommend trimming to the side out instead of the side in, because you can't kind of tell in video. Well, maybe you can, but there's a couple little areas where you can see where I kind of cut in instead of more out. And even though it's not a big deal, I just care about things looking OEM and whatnot. But yeah, long story short, not that bad of an install. Super quick little nice little detail, and I hope you guys like it. Stay tuned to the next video. The next video is going to be this thing being bagged on Airlift 3P. So I'm taking it to Poppy Fly, Fly Air's shop, and he's gonna go ahead and install the air ride on this thing with the Airlift 3P management. So stay tuned for that next video, and hopefully I'll do a video on my new Yofer one-piece front lip that I got on the way, because my old one decided to get ripped off the car when a raccoon decided to commit suicide. But it's okay, I still got the side skirts on, and the rear diffuser / rear lip is on as well. But I appreciate all you guys. If you like this content, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. I'm starting out with some fresh videos, and I'm going to be more focused on this new build. I'm also going to talk about my 8th gen red SI build that I had before, and also I'm also going to be doing headlight installs and steering wheel install videos, so you guys can be more aware of that. Thank you guys, have a good one.